Hey, what's up, guys? It's me again. Um, Today's not going to be super happy. It's going to be real. It's going to be deep. And I'm pretty sure you're sitting here like, what is this? Let's get real. Episode 1. Like, what is this? You know? Um, I just decided to make content. Like, literally came to me like 2 days ago where I was like, what do I do? Because there's so much content that's like, oh no, like, the virus, you have to wear a face mask and flatten the curve, and it's so stressful, and like everyone's freaking out. And there's all this content out there that's like everyone's freaking out, and it's just so stressful, right? Like, I literally don't even want to watch TV anymore. I'm just like, no, I don't want to watch TV. I don't want to do anything. It's just all noise, and it stresses me out. And I realized, like, why don't I make content? Because it's not out there. Why don't I make content that's not about the virus, and it's a place for people to come, where I talk about deep stuff, but it's a place where I feel like I can empower people to live their best life and help them be more self-reflective in a time where they're forced to be self-reflective because they're at home all the time, and they're probably thinking like, oh, there's this flaw that I have, and whatever, like, there's that thing I need to work on, is a better way to say it, but I think that people would say, they see it as like, oh, it's a flaw and I can't fix it, but rather look at it as, oh, there's that thing I need to work on, and I can improve it, right? So I just wanted to make content that it's about deep stuff, but no one wants to talk about it, and I realized that it's important to talk about still. So I just wanted to make content where people, I feel like, could sit down for like 10 minutes a day, however long the videos are. It's a fly, sorry. However long the videos are, and just sit down and be with someone who's willing to be emotionally open in a space where the person watching it might not have grown up in a space like that, and maybe they need that. Maybe they need that when they're trying to be self-reflective, when they're forced to look at themselves because they're at home all the time. That's why I wanted to make this content. Okay? So, without further ado, let's get real. Let's talk about some deep stuff. Let's go. I don't want to waste your time. Okay? So, today's topic is about using your pain for purpose. And I wanted to talk about this for a long time, but I could never figure out how I could make the video and do it justice, right? But it just hit me a couple days ago, and it just like literally hit me, and I was thinking about it. I was sleeping on it for the past couple days, and it just like came totally in my head, and I have this perfect vision for it. So, without further ado, let's begin. So, I have a lot of issues. I have physical disability, I'm autistic, I'm a type 1 diabetic, my parents are divorced, and my biological father is not a nice person, was not a nice person, and I'm a sexual assault survivor. So, there's a lot of things that I've been through where it's like, why me, right? And what I mean by using your pain for purpose is like, instead of asking why me, ask something else, right? Look at it from a different perspective, and that's what I want you to take away from things I'm going to talk about and things that I'm going to talk about in my experiences, that I hope you'll carry with you, and maybe you'll take something from it, even if it's maybe not directly related to what I'm talking about. Maybe they'll just like you'll have a revelation where you're like, that's what I needed to hear today, I don't know, but yeah, so I just want to talk about, stop asking why me, start using your pain for purpose. So from the beginning, when I knew I was physically disabled, when I was old enough to recognize that, hey, I'm not like the other kids, from the beginning I was like, why did God do this to me? Why did God make me this way? That's not something that I would expect God to do. I would not expect God to make me disabled, right? I would expect him to make me more perfect, right? I didn't understand, like, why would God do that to me? Why would God make me disabled? It doesn't make sense, right? And I was like, I don't even have, a good father figure, because my biological father, he's not nice, and I was freaking out as a little kid. That really messed me up as a little kid, I was thinking about it all the time, and I was like, God, why? Why me? Why me? Why me? Right? All the time. I was always, why me? It was always, why me? And I just couldn't understand, like, why these things would happen to me, why I was the way I was, why I am the way I am, really. And, so, like, what happened was I just progressively things like another thing showed up in my life. I found out, you know, my parents got divorced. I moved to California. I completely got displaced. I was pretty chill with moving and get my parents getting divorced because, like I said, I didn't like my biological father. He wasn't a nice person. So I was like, cool, thank you. You know, that was honestly my first reaction. I was like, thank you. Like I don't. I was the one that asked my mom to divorce him. You know. So I was chill with it, but nonetheless, there was a lot of stress in being completely displaced and going into another state and whatnot. And then I was molested at the age of 11 by, my grandpa. Not the one that's still alive, because I love him. But the other one, I have another grandpa, and one of my grandpas, did that when I was 11. And again, I was stuck in this place where I was like, why me? Like, I've done nothing wrong. Like, I have not committed any horrible... Like, I was raised Christian, so it was always like, I was always talking to God all the time. I was like, God, why? Like, I have not committed any horrible sins. I have not done anything, right? At like 11 years old, what could I have done, right? I was like, why me? Why me? And then, at 16, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and then it really hit, right? Because I was like, what the heck, right? Like, right? Like, at the time, I knew I was physically disabled. I didn't have a really good father figure in my formative years of my life. My parents were divorced. I got completely moved to another state, only to have another bad thing happen to me. And then the next thing that happens to me, I realize, oh, like, shoot, another thing, I have type 1 diabetes. And, and then, I come out as transgender, and I have this realization when I learn what it means, and I really educate myself. I'm like, shoot, that's me too. So I wasn't even born in the right body. Like, what else could the Lord throw at me? Like, I wasn't even born in the right body. I'm a type 1 diabetic. I'm physically disabled. And, like, a sexual assault survivor, like, I don't have a good father figure. I don't have a lot of, I didn't have a good father figure in my life, in the formative years of my life. And I was just, like, ruminating over all this stuff. And I was like, God, why me? Why me? Why all these things? And I was literally in a space where I was so depressed and I was in such a horrible headspace. I was like, you know what? I shouldn't even be alive. How the heck am I still alive? All this stuff happens to me and I'm still like, yeah, still kicking. But I was like, how am I still doing this? I shouldn't even be alive. All this stuff happened to me. All these statistics about all the things that happened to me. I should have, but I should have died. My time should have been up. Like, what's up with that? What's up with that? Like, why? Like, why am I even still alive, right? And I was really depressed and I was really suicidal and I was like, right, I was in a horrific headspace. I'm gonna be real with you. I was in a horrific headspace. I mean, this is literally the video's called Let's Get Real episode 1, so let's get real. I was in a really bad headspace. And I remember sitting on my bed and I was ruminating, like I said, over all these things that happened to me, and I was like, God, why? Why me? What have I done, right? I have done nothing, right? Nothing. Nada, right? I couldn't think of it. I was just so angry at God. I was like, why? Why should I worship you when you do this, right? And I was just in a really ugly headspace. And I was so mad. But then it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, wait a second. That's right. I'm not done. My time isn't up. The Lord isn't done with me, right? The Lord is not done with me. Like, if my time was up, if the Lord decided, like, yeah, it's your time to kick the bucket, I would have been gone already, right? Because I was ruminating over it, I was looking at all these things, and I knew all these statistics, and I was like, you know what, that's right. I'm still alive. I'm still kicking. It's not my time to kick the bucket yet. I'm still here. Why am I still here, right? Because that was the moment where I was like, hang on, wait a second, like, stop being angry. It was like God talking to me, but like through myself, right? I just had this moment where I was like, you know what, wait. That doesn't make sense. If it was my time to kick the bucket, why hasn't the Lord taken me up to heaven or whatever, right? It doesn't make sense. And I just realized, like, the Lord has given me all this crazy stuff, the horrible stuff that I've been through, to educate people and to tell people like, hey, you can go through all this crazy stuff and you can still have a good life. I literally had a moment where I was like, you know what? Like, all this bad stuff that happened to me, yeah, it sucks, and I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. But I'm still here, right? And the Lord is not with me. And the Lord has a purpose for me. If I haven't completed my purpose yet, there's a reason why I'm still here, right? I haven't completed the purpose that the Lord has given me yet. So, and I believe fully that everything that's happened to me has happened to me for a reason. And that's why. And I think people are like, that's crazy. Like, that's super, like, why would you be like, yeah, everything's great? Like, not everything's great. There's stuff that I don't want to relive. There's stuff that I really, there's stuff I still need to go to therapy for, right? And I'm, but there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that, like, oh, when you have this beautiful mindset, you'll be cured of ever needing therapy again. You'll need to be perfect. Your mindset will be beautiful. No, I still have to go to therapy. I still have to be self-reflective. I still write in a journal. I still look at myself and be like, why am I angry today? What happened? I'm not saying that you're going to be cured. I'm just saying, like, it's a completely different shift, right? Like, I was always like, why me, God? And I was so mad at God. I was so mad at the Lord. And I was like, what the heck is up, right? And then I just had this realization, like, literally like a ton of bricks. I was like, wait, the Lord has given me everything, all this bad stuff, and I'm still here because I'm a strong person, and I can say to people, hey, look, I've been through some really messed up stuff. Probably worse than you. Maybe not. Maybe we've been through the same things. But just know that you can still live a good life, right? I think that's what people just don't get, is that, like, people don't realize, like, you can still live a beautiful life no matter what happens to you. It's all in here. It's all about your life choices, right? It's all about your life choices. It's all about looking at yourself and saying, what can I do to make my life better? In this moment, yeah, I gotta go through this bad moment. This too shall pass, and I gotta figure out how I can make my life better when I work on myself and I am in a space where I can improve my life and drastically improve it. What can I do? Do I need to go to therapy? Probably. Like, do I need to get a better support system? Do I need to, live somewhere else? Do I need to do all these things? Whatever it is for you, just figure out what it is, and I'm trying to use my pain that I've been through for purpose. I'm trying to educate people. I'm trying to say, hey, like, we've probably been through the same things. Maybe I've been through worse things. Maybe you've been through worse things than me. Maybe I haven't been even close to what you've been through. Maybe I've been through something that I haven't even thought of, and then maybe you've been through something that I haven't even thought of, and maybe you're like, like, all this stuff, really bad, but, like, what I'm going through, nothing compared to, like, what you've been through is nothing compared to what I've been through, right? Maybe you're thinking that when you're, like, listening to me talk to this camera right now. Maybe you're like, that's nothing. I don't know. But I just want you to know that you can live a good life. You can live a good life, and don't be mad at God. Don't be mad at whatever you believe in. Don't be mad at the universe. I believe in God, so don't be mad at God. Look at God and say, hey, God, what's up with this? What can I learn from this? Why'd you give this to me? Yeah, it sucks, and yeah, I'm mad right now, and yeah, it's a traumatic thing, maybe, for you, whatever it is you're going through. Maybe it's not traumatic, but maybe it just makes you angry. I don't know what you're going through right now. But just know that, like, you should just ask God, you should ask the universe, whatever you believe in, you should ask your God, or whatever, you should ask God, and be like, hey, God, what's up? What do I learn from this? Because I know that God works in mysterious ways, and as much as you're like, that's a cliche, I don't like that. I don't want to be angry, like, I'm in a bad space right now, I'm going through something, and I want to be angry. Be angry, okay? That's a natural emotion. I'm not saying you can't be angry, I'm not saying that you can't be sad, but I'm saying you should make it a practice to look up to God and say, hey, God, why did you give this to me? Yeah, it sucks right now. Yeah, I'm mad. Yeah, this is not fun. This is not a high point in my life. This is a really low point. But what can I learn from this low point? Why did you give this to me? Because I believe that, like you can't have, if you don't have low points in your life, you can't grow as a person. Some of us have really low points. Some of us just have, like, little divots. But when you compare two people side by side, right? But nonetheless, like, maybe that little divot for someone is a really big, deep black hole, and, like, maybe someone else who's been through worse things, they're like, your little divot is like nothing. But nonetheless, people still have things that upset them and still have things that they consider low points in their lives, whether it's, bad thing that's happened to me, or maybe they're like this thing happened to me, like really stresses me out. Like, I don't know what to do, and it like really makes me upset. Just look to God and say, like, what do I do? Like, ask for guidance. That's what I do. Maybe I'm not like, hey God, like, what's the positive, right? Maybe I'm just like, hey God, like, guide me through this, because I don't know what I'm doing, and this is not fun right now. So I just want your guidance. I want your love in my life, right? So don't be angry at God, because God knows what He's doing. As much as you might think that's not God, right? No, I think God made me disabled for a purpose. I think God, threw me a curveball, and I got diagnosed with autism at 19 years old, because that's a hell of a curveball, and I just couldn't catch a break. All this stuff that's happened to me, and yet again, another thing that got thrown at me. But I feel like that again helps me to say, like, hey, here's another thing, and hey, there's a lot of people who think autistic people can't be successful, but look at me, right? So I think that everything that's happened to me, good and bad, has been for a reason, and I hope that you realize that, and I hope that you look up at God and say, why God? Not in a negative way, but why God is in it. You want to learn, and you want to ask questions, and you just want to know what you can do. Maybe you just ask for His guidance. Maybe that's all you can do right now. That's okay. Okay? And I hope you guys enjoyed me getting real with you. Stay tuned for episode 2, because this is just episode 1. Thank you. Make sure to use your pain for purpose. Make sure you learn from it. It's only a failure if you don't learn from it. Remember that. You only fail if you don't learn from what you failed at. If you don't fail, if you learn from your mistake, you don't fail.